everyone, it's Silvia. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all the wonderful care and good wishes that I received from the tarot community. It's been really heartwarming, and I'm really happy to say that this community is strong, and it really is just right next to you, whatever happens. I have, since the last video that I posted, we have gone back to extreme fire alert from catastrophic. So obviously that's an improvement. But the best thing of all is that we've been, obviously they've been in touch with us all the time from Saturday night at 1:20 a.m. when we were sent a text to stand by for evacuation orders, because the closest fire to our location was only 20 kilometers away. And since then, I've actually learned a lot about how fires move on the terrain. And 20 kilometers, if it felt like it was really safe 3 days ago, now I know that it's not, especially when there's a lot of wind. And especially when between yourself, let's say, and the fire itself, there's not a lot of urban areas. I had to learn that, obviously, in the last 3 days, but we have been, texted several times ever since by the fire department, and we have gone back to extreme. The fire in that location has been contained, even though we were told it's going to be burning for a week before it actually extinguishes itself. And this is all thinking, hopefully, that the weather, that there's going to be some rain at some point, which the weather forecast does not, unfortunately, forecast, but we'll see. In any case, what I was talking about on my last video, I was saying, because when they text you at 1:20 a.m., that I was literally in bed, and saying, stand by for evacuation. Since we have gone through that experience 5-6 years ago when we were living by the ocean, because we had a king tide, so a tsunami basically, they give you half an hour. They wait until the last moment before sending you the orders to evacuate, because obviously they don't want to get to that extreme measure. They want to try and find any other possible solution before they actually tell people to panic and move out of their homes. So I was kind of burned from the last experience, and I thought to myself, okay, well, let's not wait for them to tell us now you have to evacuate within 30 minutes. Let's just pack up everything we can. And I have to say something, that we were never in danger, in the sense that we always followed the instructions of the fire department to a T. No, they said, close everything, don't use the aircon. Okay, yeah, it was really hot and stuffy, but we closed all the windows. We did not use the aircon. Don't go outside, etc. We wouldn't have gone outside at 2 a.m. in the morning, but in any case, that's what we've done. When they tell you not to go outside, it's not an evacuation order yet. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. It's shelter in place. And so that's what we've done. We were never in any kind of danger. Had they given us the evacuation order, would have been ready to leave within half an hour, which is what I think they would have given us as a time. And it's also very important to notice, if you're in Australia and you're in this kind of condition and circumstances, do not evacuate until they tell you to, because they wouldn't know where to get you. There would not be shelters anywhere. It's not something that you can do because you want to. So the important thing is not to panic. We didn't panic. I think that my husband, being a true blue Aussie, is kind of used to these kind of things happening. We did have once a very scary adventure in which we had to drive through a fire. So it was contained on the side of the road, but by passing by, we literally saw the fire on the sides of the road. And but they were excellent. The fire department, I think that they're used to these kind of things, and they're very tough people, very, very professional. And so it's scary, but at the same time, it is the reality of Australia. In 2019, that was the worst year I've ever seen for fires. But back then, we used to live by the ocean. And so we did not deal with any kind of fear of evacuation because close to the coast, even though there can be fires, but we never went through that kind of drill before. In any case, so when I read that message and I decided with my husband to already start packing, I obviously went immediately to all the documents because trust me, you don't want to lose your passport, birth certificate, marriage certificate and stuff like that. Then immediately to all the stuff that I keep from that used to belong to my mom, my auntie and my grandma. And part of the stuff that I have from my dad. So that went immediately as the second most important thing. And then my decks. And so it was probably 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I was obviously tired and sleepy, but you jolt awake because you're in an emergency. But I have to say that I was very calm. And, my mind immediately went, okay, you really have like 10 minutes to make a selection. You need to consider A, is this a collectible item? B, if it's not, is it important to you? And how difficult is it to replace it? I did not feel bad about looking at all of my decks, which is a collection of about 700 decks. I did not feel bad about being that ruthless in separating what needed to be saved and what could stay behind and possibly be lost. Let's put it this way. Now it's been 3 days. As I said, we've gone back to extreme. The fire has been contained. It will burn for a week, but we can open windows. We can go outside. We can use the aircon. Let's say we're not in danger of evacuation. Life is back to normal, even though obviously under extreme fire danger, they ask you to be careful, which, if you live in Australia, you pretty much always have to be careful because there's always something out there to get you. But now I've got these 2 bags, and these are I don't know if you can tell, there's 2 bags here. And these are the first decks that I grabbed. And I thought I opened the bags now. I feel like it's okay and I'm safe enough to open the bags and put the decks back where they belong. But I also want to go through them because I think I know what I took, but I'm not entirely sure. And so I thought it would be a good first impression video to do with you to see which decks I saved. Because I remember that years ago there was this tag that was going around, the top 10 decks you will save from a fire. Let me tell you, one thing is when you have hours and you look at all your decks and you can say, this one, but maybe that one, maybe that one not, and maybe that one yes, and you need to just pick up 10. One thing is, when you're in that situation, one thing is when there's an actual fire and you really don't have time and it's just really lizard brain. I think honestly that to me, it was a matter of lizard brain. I had to close myself off from any kind of emotion because I knew, and I'd done that also with my jewelry. I could not pack all of my jewelry because you guys know me, I have a lot, but 90% of it is not precious. But when I looked at my jewelry box and I knew that part of it was my mom's, I didn't even think. Of course, my mom's jewelry, my auntie's jewelry, my grandma's jewelry will come with me, duh. But you kind of, you do this construct in your mind. I believe it's always there. I think that we all have it, and it's lizard brain when you need to activate it. But now I don't have a lizard brain anymore. It's gone back to sleep, and now I'm not closing myself off from emotions. So let's have a look at what I packed. So how do we do this? I'll start with this one. I'll put this aside, and then we'll just go, oh, it's heavy. And then we'll just go through that one as well. So let's see, because as I said, I think I know, but I will be very surprised. I bet there will be a couple of decks that will surprise me, and I will go, why did I pack this one? Or there'll be a couple of decks missing that'll be very surprising. I'll go, why did I not pack that one? So let me just zoom in a little bit. And again, not lighting candles. And I talked about it with my husband, and he said they tell you not to light candles inside either. Because of probably the smoke, I don't know, or something like that. But in any case, no candles, fine. I thought it was a bit exaggerated, but okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm just picking them out of a bag. And okay, the Solaro Colto Tarot, this is the original second edition, is it? Yeah, from 2020. That's not the most recent one. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I'm just going to show you very briefly. I mean, I talk about these decks all the time, but this one is the one that I trimmed myself, that I'm very, very sorry that I did. But then again, when I did trim it, it wasn't out of print. It wasn't hard to find. It wasn't the deck that everyone wanted. And I have to say, I actually do prefer this version, and I can read with this one, even though it does not have the titles. So this one, and I also edged it, as you can see. I like my edging job. So this one makes sense. Of course, I have the other. I curiously enough, I don't think I packed the new version. I don't think I did. Anyway, so moving on. And then we've got, of course, yeah, the Desert Illumination Tarot. This one makes sense because this is the first edition. It's the indie edition. And even though I have the mass market, and I know that the mass market is very easy to find and very affordable, honestly, this one is my favorite, still my favorite. There's a few cards that are different from the deck, and it would have been really heartbreaking for me if I had lost this version in a fire. So I'm really happy with my laser brain decision to include this deck, even though I have the mass market one, and I did not pack the mass market one. Then this one, oh yeah, of course. So this one is the Lost Forest Tarot by Chelsea Santa Maria. This is the second edition, not the most recent one. I love this deck so much. I completely understand why I went for it and not RD decks, because honestly, this one would have also broken my heart had I lost it. This is one of the most beautiful decks I've ever had. All of the cards of the minors complete, if you put them one side by side, they complete a tableau. So all of them. And it is just the most amazing thing. It is not an easy deck. It is not a deck that I use for reading. There's no two ways around that. It's not RWS based. It's numerological rather than anything else. You have 3 elements on the 3s, 4 elements on the 4s, and so on and so forth. I love it so much. It is so beautiful. This is particularly for aesthetic purposes that I love it. And I don't care. This is a deck that I am proud of my laser brain, because my laser brain took the right decision. So well done, laser brain of mine. Yes, it was a good thing to save this deck. Then moving on. Okay, yeah. This is the True Black Tarot. I can imagine my laser brain going, how much did you spend on this deck? Yeah, you're taking it. So this is not a cheap deck. And it is still available. It is a mass market deck, and it's still available. It is incredibly beautiful if you look at the cards, obviously. And this particular version I actually really like, because contrary to, I know that there's a lot of people who prefer. So this one, I don't know if you can tell. If I do like this, you don't see the rays of light. If I do like that, you can see them, because this is spot, not even spot gold, but what's it called? Spot gilding, probably. There's a new edition, an anniversary edition, that has these in silver, so you can always see them. I actually prefer this one, believe it or not. I've seen the other edition. I definitely prefer this one because I like it, that it's very dark, and then you tilt it and there's some additional elements to the image. You see like this one like that, then you tilt it and there's all of these spot gilding. I actually really love it. It's such a beautiful deck. Amazingly though, I don't think that I packed the Ephemera Tarot, because I do have that one as well, but I didn't pack it, and I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but this one, yeah, good done. Good job, my lizard brain. Then I don't know what this one is, so let me just see. Okay, so this is the Holy Spectrum, the Tarot of Holy Spectrum, and I think I packed this one and not the other versions that I've got, because this one is the one that has the Devil card. That is my favorite Devil card of all times. I don't know if I thought it would have been at the back, because I always talk about it. It's here. So if you can see, this is a devil that is really manipulating you. It's the voice at the back of your brain that tells you that you're not worthy, that you're useless, that you're not going to make it, and so on and so forth. This is one of the strongest devils that I've ever encountered in my life, and I need this deck because I need this card. So I completely understand why my lizard brain would go for this deck, even though I don't think it's still in print, but I could be wrong. But every now and then the creator is reproducing it, reprinting it in a different version. Like there's been the Color Me version, there's been the Infinity edition with mirror backs, really beautiful. I've got that one as well. There's other editions where the devil does not have any phrases and sentences around it, and so this is the version that I need this one because I need that devil. You know, it's best to keep your enemies close. So obviously good decision again from my lizard brain. And then, okay, well, I saved the Hokusai from the Meneghello, no others from Meneghello. It makes sense because I love Japan. Although this one, ironically, I think is still on sale. I'm not entirely sure though, I could be wrong. Because by the time I bought it, which was already probably 3 years ago, this one was number 230 out of 250. So maybe it's already out of print. But this is a fantastic deck. Look at the cards. It's so beautiful. I really love it so much. And yes, indeed, it is a collectible item. I mean, all of the decks that I've got from Lo Scarabeo, I consider collectible items. So obviously, I had to make a choice, but I'm quite happy about choosing that one. Then, of course, the Mioim Tarot. This one, my lizard brain did the same as the True Black Tarot. I was literally feeling the sting of the invoice of when I bought this deck, and you know, I thought to myself, if you have to rebuy it, you probably wouldn't because it's so expensive, and so I just saved it. Ironically, this is the deck that I used for my article in the Discombobulator, which is Andrea Aste's Occult and Magic magazine I write for, and we have presented it last week in London at the College of Psychic Studies. So it's been an amazing experience. I have met with many famous people, Letizia Barbier, Sasha Graham, and it was an amazing experience, let me tell you, absolutely amazing. I am so happy to have been able to meet them, but also to have been there to present and talk about this card in specific. So that's the card we were talking about, the Three of Cups, and the ability to find sense also in death of a loved one. So it was a really great experience for me, and yeah, I'm very proud of myself. If I can say this at least once in my life, I was very happy that I was there, and yeah, it felt amazing. So this one makes sense that I saved it, of course. Okay, yeah, I get it. So this is the Tarot, the Oreste Zevola, published by Grimaud, I believe. I can't see it, but it must be. Why can't I see? Well, it must be Grimaud. Okay. So this is an ancient deck. This is now out of print. Very hard to find. I've never seen it for sale. It's not the most beautiful deck I've got, I have to be honest, but it is one of the very whimsical, strange ones, weird ones. And it is impossible to replace. Absolutely impossible to replace. If you need to buy this deck, if you do find someone that has it and wants to part ways with it, good luck finding it for a decent price. It's also because it's very difficult to counterfeit because of this really odd kind of size. And it is very unique. I don't read with this deck. It's a collectible item for sure, which means that I know that I shouldn't put my oily fingers on it. But then again, I never considered it when I bought it. I bought it many years ago. Many years ago. I started collecting in 1988. Actually collecting, I was reading before that. But I already, at the time, I did not know that it would have become a collectible item, so I was actually using it. These are the backs, and so it's not mint by all means. And, I wouldn't be able to resell it for mint conditions anyway. So I just wanted to show you. You don't really see this deck anywhere. I've honestly never seen it in any channels, etc. Then what did I do? Okay, so the Blood Moon Tarot. So this one is coming out mass market, but this one is the Indie Deluxe edition, and I'm quite happy that I did grab this one because this one has, as you can see, borders. The mass market edition is borderless. And I haven't seen it. They keep on pushing back the date. So now in Australia it will be released at the end of April next year. It was supposed to be in November, which is really a pity. I hope that there's no problem in the production because, sometimes they push it back because maybe there's production problems or stuff like that. It is supposed to come with the guidebook. It is a US Games production. So we'll see, but I'm very happy that I got this one. And again, I think that I made the right choice. Also is Gilde. This is such an amazing deck. I really love it. It's my Pan's Labyrinth deck. I always call it that way. Then I've got a few Jonasa. I've got the Jumbo 6. I've got the 5th edition. And I've got the... don't know. Is it... I think it's either the 3rd one or the 4th one. I don't remember. So this one, let me just show you this because the Jumbo has got my favorite Emperor card of all times. And I get it why I would grab all these ones because they were all together. I keep them together, so it makes sense. My lizard brain went for this one, and then my peripheral brain went, well, the other editions are out of print too, So I grabbed those two as well. Ironically, I did not grab the last edition that I've got, which is the 7th edition, which is also out of print. And I didn't grab the Stunning Tarot. Weird decision. I don't know, but this is the Emperor. This is the Emperor, my favorite Emperor of all time. To me, it looks like it's One-Eye Willie from the Goonies, when in the movie they finally find the ship and they go inside and they see One-Eye Willie. And it just reminds me of One-Eye Willie so much, and I just absolutely love this. And this tarot deck is really gorgeous. I've read some not so positive comments about Honasa's decks lately, and that really hurt me, almost as if they were commenting on me, which were obviously not. I think that she's a fantastic artist. I really do. And I love her decks. And I know that, she's been publishing year after year these decks, but there's always some kind of variation. In any case, this is not my place to discuss because honestly, these are the decks that obviously meant something to me, or at least to my lizard brain, when I was deciding which decks to save. And I'm kind of agreeing. So far, I don't see any choice that I do not agree with. If I, God forbid, if we had to evacuate and now I would be in a different place and not still my place, the place where I live, going through these stacks, I would have been grateful that I saved them so far, because we got another full bag and a couple more decks here. So the Madame Lydia tarot. So this one is going to be launched soon in a Kickstarter campaign, which was supposed to be launched on Halloween, but I follow Bethelyn Instagram account. She was saying that not everything was ready, but it will be launched in a campaign, and maybe at the time of posting this video it will be already launched, so I don't know. But I know that this is a deck that I really struggled to get my hands on. When I wanted it and I was posting ISOs, I was contacted by a person who wanted $750 for it. I paid 70. I knew that Bethelyn, every now and then, even when she was still going through some really hard stuff health-wise, she was always reprinting them. Maybe once every 2 years, maybe once every 3 years, but she was. And so I honestly did not even respond to this person. I think I did at the end, saying, look, it's outside my budget. But I was really stoked that she kind of reprinted it, and it was in the window in which the US was still shipping decks to Australia during the pandemic. So I was really lucky because she was able to send it to me. So this is I hope that for every one of you who are watching, this is an example of the fact that sometimes you need to be hopeful and keep on searching for the deck that you love, because you never know, it will come back. And if you cannot afford to spend $750 on a deck, just be aware that it is very possible that after a couple of months you will find it for an affordable price. This is not the first time that this happens to me, and I can assure you that it does happen. Not all the decks, but most. So this is the Darkness of Light Tarot, but it's the White Borders edition. And also, this is what I consider an incredibly rare tarot deck for me, because it's already an indie deck and it's already out of print and it's already hard to find. But the white edition, I call it the white edition, it's the White Bordered edition. I believe it's called the As Is edition. This is very important to me. I absolutely love this deck. But I cannot stand the edition with the black borders because it feels like the colors are desaturated, whereas the white borders bring up the colors on the cards. And this one reads in a completely different way than the one with the black borders. And I would say the same for the Brady Tarot. So I actually have another edition of the black, the one with the black borders, and I also have the white borders edition. They read like completely different decks. So I can't, and you know what? I don't think I grabbed the white edition of the Brady. I don't think so, because it's rather large. It comes with a wooden box, so I would have seen it. I don't think I did. Okay, this one makes sense because we're talking about a completely irreplaceable deck. The Grand Tarot Berlin. I've been told several times, Silvia, if you want it, it's like $80. No, that's the Oracle Berlin, trust me. And if it's the Grand Tarot Berlin for $80, it's either it's a counterfeit and there's a lot out there, or it is very, very damaged. I have seen one, not for $80. It was still selling for $200-300, but it was very damaged. This one is actually pristine. And yes, I know I should be wearing gloves. Although some of you said that gloves are actually even worse for the cardstock. So I'm not wearing gloves. And trust me, when it's 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and you are waiting to know whether you're going to be evacuated or not, and you're trying to save as much things as possible, you really don't put on gloves. That is not something that you think of doing. So this is a deck from originally Berlin 1984. I did not buy it in 1984. This was a present that was already rather expensive when I got it, but I believe I bought it probably in the 90s. And it's very famous for a number of things. Obviously, this one has also been printed by Grimoire, I believe. It's a French printing house, publisher. So it's your typical. It's a Marseille deck. So obviously we're not talking beautiful because it's modern. It's beautiful if you like this kind of art style, but to me it's a collectible item because it's extremely rare. And it's also one of those decks that it is a staple of tarot. It's one of those decks that if you have it, I don't recommend buying it if you don't have it, unless you truly do find it for a fantastic deal. I don't honestly recommend buying it because it's the deck that it's just a collectible item. On the other hand, if you have a collection, if you're an interested collector, then you might be able to find it. But as I said, just brace yourself because it's not going to be cheap. Then let me just grab the other bag. Okay, so this is the second bag that I packed, and all of the decks are not exactly in the best position. Like for the first bag, I actually made sure that there was no overlapping and that they were kind of, Tetris wise, they made sense. This bag, I was probably getting more nervous, and I just put them in the bag without necessarily making sure that they were not going to fall. So obviously this one, I had to actively remind myself to grab the Delta Enduring. I just bought it in London at Treadwell's. This is one of the three decks that I'm perennially, I'm always looking for. One is the Collective Tarot, one is the Slow Holla, and this is the Delta Enduring. For me, it was actually either one or number two, depending on how I feel. I always say it's number one, sometimes I say it's number two. I would say that I posted a whole video on this deck, so you can go back maybe 1 week and you can find it. So I'm not going to show you the cards because I'm actually strongly concerned about damaging them more than the Berlin, if you can see that. This is a modern deck and it's based on the lives of people living around the delta of the Mississippi River, which is a place that really stole my heart the couple of times in which I've been there. I love the southern states of the United States, are probably my favorite place in the whole of North America. And I go back whenever I can, and we take these road trips with my husband, and it's always been, we have created so many fantastic memories that they mean a lot to me. And so obviously, and that's one of the reasons why the Desert Illumination Tarot means so much to me as well. And, for the money that I spent on this deck, my lizard brain did not even have to blink to grab it. So obviously this is a deck that will come with me no matter what happens. Then of course, yes, the Bone Stone and Earth Flesh. This is the original indie edition by Amalon Cameron, illustrated by my favorite Anatolian. So of course this deck had to come with me. I do have the mass market edition. There are a few cards that are different. The layout of the card is different. I do prefer the indie one. I never made a comparison because I don't want people to think that they missed out. If you have the mass market edition, it's a wonderful deck. It's a gorgeous deck. Be happy that you have it. If you have this edition, be extra happy that you have it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So really, really, okay, this one is a no-brainer. Of course, I would have saved this one. I completely forgot about the last ones, but I'm kind of worried now because there's only like 4 left, and I'm kind of worried that I didn't save my favorite tarot decks of all time. And I think I know why. Because it's the Savvy Soul Tarot. Those of you who've been following me for a while, you would know how much I relate to that deck. It is now out of print. It is hard to find. People are asking for already for $500-600 for it. and it's a deck from 2022, I believe, so it's not even that long ago. And if it's selling for that much money now, you can imagine in 5-10 years. So if it's not here, there was no fire at the end. I'm reacting almost as if I actually lost it, but I need to teach a lesson to my lizard brain, because that would have been, you know why? I know why. Because it wasn't on the shelf of the collectible items, because I use it all the time for myself. So let that be a lesson for me, that I need to put it back on the shelf. Okay, so let's have a look in any case. So we got the Mystic Palette Tarot. Why did I save this one? I mean, this one is the indie edition, but I believe it's still available on Chiro's shop. And there is a mass market edition. Maybe I thought it was a different deck. I mean, I have nothing against this deck. I like it. I'm not saying, oh, God forbid, I'm not saying that, that it should not be saved. But, oh, this is signed. Maybe because it's signed. I don't know. I love it. So it's a beautiful deck, really gorgeous, and the muted color palette edition is actually my favorite. I do prefer this one to the colored edition. It's just a matter of taste, obviously. I just feel like the colored edition is very distracting for me, just for me. And so it just lifts me up from the reading, which is something that I don't want to do, because this is actually a deck that I would use in a reading for sure. Love this full card, so beautiful. So I don't know why, maybe because I thought to myself, it's signed, it's an indie edition, it makes sense to save it. I mean, I'm not unhappy that I did, but then, at the back of my mind right now, there is this voice that goes, okay, so you didn't save your favorite tarot of all times, which is the Savvy Soul Tarot, but you saved this one, which you almost never mention. And I'm like, what was my brain thinking? But in any case, I've done an excellent job so far, so I'm not complaining too much. Okay, yeah, I can see this for sure. So when I went through all of my collectible items, I thought to myself, and this is by no means all of them, these are the ones that were easy to grab. I thought to myself, now get a deck you want to use now. As in, if you're going to be evacuated, you might want to be with a deck. You don't want to use a collectible item, so grab a deck that you want to be with. And my mind immediately went to the Manga Tarot. I just love this deck so much. It's as much as I love the Unveiled Tarot. But for the Unveiled Tarot, for example, I know, my brain went, it's a mass market deck, very affordable, very easy to find. The Manga Tarot is not, so it's an indie deck. It is still available, I believe. I didn't check, but I didn't buy it that long ago, so maybe it might be temporarily out of stock, but trust me, it will come back in stock. Well, I don't know that for sure, but I am imagining it. And so I really wanted to be with this deck. I literally imagined myself, in the shelter, looking at the cards, reading. So my mind can go, very far with this kind of imagination. And I was thinking, I can read cards for the others. And so I really wanted to be with this deck, it's such a beautiful deck. So yeah, I get it why I would go for this deck. And okay, I think I've seen something that is making me happy. Let's see, because there's only 2 decks left. So one is, of course, the Tarocchi Gialli. I know why I picked this one. I've talked about this deck so much. because this is a deck that, well, it was a reward from a Kickstarter campaign from a couple of years ago. And it's made by Nick Rivera and Chain Assembly. And these cards are inspired by the horror movie, the posters of horror movies from the Italian productions from the 60s and the 70s, Mario Bava, Dario Argento. So they are inspired, but not a replica, because otherwise I think there would have been some copyright issues and stuff like that. But they are heavily inspired by that. And I absolutely love those horror movies. I don't know, they are so pregnant with meaning for me. And I do understand why my brain would go, yeah, you need this deck, you need this deck. So yeah, completely understand. And last but not least, guys, I think, because I can see it from the side and I know my decks. So I was very harsh with my brain earlier because I was thinking, I thought that I did not save my favorite deck, but I actually did. Whew, you know, I know that this relief that I'm feeling doesn't really make sense now, does it? Because there was no fire, or rather there was a fire, but we were not evacuated. So I didn't lose all my decks. But, you know, this is a test, because I'm telling myself, my lizard brain knew that I had to save this deck, the Savage Soul Tarot by Julie Whitelish. I would have been heartbroken. Had I lost it. I would have been completely heartbroken, because it is very difficult to come across a copy of this deck. Very difficult also for a reasonable price. It is one of those decks that, and you might not like it. No, let me make this clear. This is a deck that is number one for me, because it resonates so much for me. I don't know, it feels like Julie knew me. It feels like Julie made a deck for Silvia. And I just really appreciate it. I love it every time I read with it, which is very, very often. And that was one of the reasons why it was not on the shelf with the other collectible items. So as I said earlier, let that be a lesson for me to put my decks back on the shelves. You know, because, and that, another thing that I just now realized, I didn't save the Yokai Yochi because it was not on the shelf. So I really should reorganize my collection. That's what I'm thinking. I should reorganize my collection and be sure that if there is another time in which I will have to make a really quick choice on what to save and what to leave behind, I would not make these mistakes. Well, I didn't make a mistake, obviously. It would have been a Three of Swords, even though I don't read the Three of Swords like a heartbreak, but it would have been a heartbreak to lose this deck. Now, so thank you so much for, again, for the really lovely messages of support. I really appreciate that. We are safe. We were never in danger. We were just really concerned and nervous, that's all. And we're always following the instructions. So we're never, you know, when it comes, I am kind of stubborn and strong-minded for many things in my life. But when it comes to a situation like that, where I honestly would not know what to do, I follow the instructions of someone who's a professional in the field, of course. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.